Yes, yes, the Casanovians. Feeling a little bit groggy today. Didn't have the best of sleeps. I got woken up about 8 a.m. by screaming children next door. They weren't happy about something, but I just took that as a signal from God that I was supposed to wake up at that time. Anyway, important live stream today. We're going to be talking about the notion of subconscious sabotage and why one of the main reasons that you're getting rejected by women is because you're rejecting yourself on their behalf. So I was speaking with one of my guys yesterday. So he's one of our newest members of the Entourage. So I'm going to be coaching him over the summer in London. And we were having a conversation back and forth over WhatsApp. And it's really important for me to get to know my guys as intimately as possible before we work together, because the better I know my guys, the better I can help them. And he was explaining to me an issue that he'd been facing in the past when he's gone out there to approach girls. This notion of subconscious sabotage. So getting in his own way and being the reason for the rejection. And the metaphor that he used was like, imagine going into a boxing ring, and rather than going into that boxing ring to throw punches and to actually win the match or win the bout, you're just avoiding being hit. Yeah, so rather than playing to win, you're playing not to lose. And I think that this is a common sticking point that maybe not a lot of guys are aware of. I remember it myself when I first started cold approach. I think when we first start cold approach, there is an element of permission which is missing. Yeah, there's an element of, oh, I feel weird about doing this. Is this okay to do? Is this okay for me to do? And once you've got over that initial resistance to approach, the next biggest sticking point that you'll most likely face is staying in that conversation for at least 5 minutes. Yeah, giving yourself enough time to actually marinate in the conversation, get to know the girl, build investment, share some things about yourself so she knows that you're not just this fantastic stranger. Also, as well, we spoke about this during our group coaching call yesterday in the Entourage, actually using that initial conversation to schedule the date. Yeah, a lot of guys, especially a lot of beginner guys, the reason why you'll get a lot of flakes and therefore your mind's interpreting that as, oh, a girl's ghosted me, I've been rejected. Oftentimes it's because you're not future projecting in that initial conversation. So you're not actually setting up plans during that initial interaction. And guys often have resistance towards doing this because they almost don't want to put the girl on the spot to make a decision, to commit to a date. I think sometimes they think, oh, is this being a bit needy? I don't want to lose the girl by saying the wrong thing. So usually they'll take the phone number and just bounce. This is one of the most guaranteed ways to get a lot of flakes from cold approach. If you want a way to dramatically reduce your flake rate and therefore reduce your ghosting and reduce your rejections, make a point the next time that you go out to start scheduling and setting up the date during that initial interaction. Because oftentimes guys will just grab the number and then they'll dart off. But if you can set some plans up, so it's a really good idea to invite the girl into something you're already planning on doing. So it's just like a little preparation beforehand. Just find somewhere in your city that you really want to go to or you really want to explore. And then during that initial conversation, once you've taken the girl's phone number, you can be like, listen, what's your plans for next week? I'm planning on checking out this new wine bar, or there's this park in the city that I really want to explore. You should come with me. When are you free? Great, let's do next Thursday. Because what I found to be true is people are less likely to bail on plans they've already committed to. But a big reason why guys get a lot of flakes, especially in their beginner days of cold approach, is they're not getting the girl to commit to any sort of plan. It's like, oh, drop me a number, I'll send you one message, and then you can do whatever you want with that. That's how I used to close. For me, you need to add on an extra, just a couple of minutes of conversation so the girl knows she's not just another number. She's actually going to be, ideally, a recurring crossover character in your life. So yeah, big hit of value there. Hopefully that's useful to you. But this notion of subconscious sabotage, where let's say you finally overcome your resistance to start the conversation. Now you're starting to feel resistance towards staying in that conversation. You just want to get out of there. Like your mind is interpreting this as a scary situation and it just wants to eject. So there's a few things you can do with this. The thing that I recommended to my guy doing, first of all, this notion of playing to win rather than playing not to lose is super important. I have this concept that I call Armageddon approaching. All right, so it's kind of like a YOLO type of vibe. So imagine for some unknown reason that today is your final day on Earth, yeah, and then you're just gonna be annihilated for some unknown reason. If you can adopt that mindset, if you can really embrace your own mortality and internalize the transient, finite nature of existence, because that is actually the reality. Yeah, I think a lot of us are operating as if we're going to live forever, and we're only young once as well. Yeah, we never get this time back. So if you can go out there and really live for the moment and embrace your own mortality, recognize that you're never going to get these moments again. Like in 20 years time, you don't want to look back on your life and think, oh, I wish I'd have taken more bold risks. I wish I'd have just put myself out there more. I wish I had have played to win rather than playing not to lose. I wish I hadn't have been so timid or so lukewarm or so vanilla. So it's just a good mindset to remind yourself, okay, we get one shot at this life. Eternity is a long time. We're too long dead to be playing it safe all of the time. And something that really helped me as well, another mindset, is understanding that audacity is arousing. Yeah, the more bold we are with our actions, the more respect we get from the world. There's a really good law in Robert Greene's The 48 Laws of Power, which is enter action with boldness. Yeah, the more bold your action, the more respect you get from the world. It's what I've found to be true is girls will oftentimes, they will mirror the energy that you're giving off. So if you're going into your approaches and you are approaching apologetically, you've already rejected yourself on the girl's behalf, and now you're experiencing failure in advance. She's most likely going to follow your lead and quote unquote reject you as well. So being able to just enter action with boldness, right? Just a really good mindset is just go for it. Yeah, like don't hold back. It's like Charles Bukowski said, if you're gonna try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start. So playing to win rather than playing not to lose. It's very much like I have cold showers every single day. When you're stepping into that chamber of chill, as I like to call it, for me, I just want to go all in there immediately. It's like, I don't want to do the whole I'll get like a little bit of my body wet and I'll like gradually ease myself in there. It's like you have to go all in anyway, so you might as well just go all in from the start. And when you do go all in with your approaches and you are operating from that place of audacity, the women that you're speaking to, they will light up more, they will respect you a lot more for the boldness that you're exhibiting. So another thing that you can do as well is, because once you have got over that initial resistance, aim to spend at least 10 more seconds in each conversation. So that might be just making one more statement or making one more observation or asking one more open question. With cold approach, it really is about crescendoing in order to reach a state of acclimatization. That's all we want to get to, just this state of acclimatization where we feel comfortable in having these conversations. And really the best way through it is through it. Like the more reps that you do with cold approach, the more comfortable you will get in having cold approach conversations. Like that there really is no alternative in this space apart from just taking a lot of radical action, just taking a lot of reps, and gradual desensitization through exposure therapy over a long enough time horizon. But yeah, if you can just set the intention the next time that you go out to cold approach to just leave nothing on the table, imagine that today is your last day on earth, and just see how bold and audacious you can be. Maybe you can go straight over to girls, just give them a really hard-hitting compliment, and then just go for their phone number straight away. We spoke about this during our Entourage group coaching call yesterday as well. One of our members, Joseph, he has this concept of desire-based conversation. So he's out in South America at the moment. He was explaining to us that he had an approach recently where he eliminated any need for any conversation, right? So he saw this girl, they exchanged eye contact a few times. He was on the phone, he was doing some business shit, and then the girl actually ended up coming over to him. They locked eyes, and then I think Joseph said something like, "Oh, what's your name? How many boyfriends do you have? Can I have your number?" So it was just like three things that he said, got the phone number, and ended up going on a date with that girl once he returned back to the place, like the city that he met her. And this just got me thinking, I think this is a really good antidote for the problem that a lot of guys face when it comes to, I need to have really long conversations. I need to stay in there for at least 5 minutes. Oh shit, what if I run out of things to say? It's really important to recognize that when it comes to cold approach or just life in general, there really isn't any rules to any of this stuff. Yeah, I think oftentimes we become castrated of our own confidence because we're playing to a rule book that somebody else has written. But the example that Joseph shared, this desire-based conversation where you could lock eyes with a girl, it's just on immediately. There's no need to have a long 5-minute conversation because then you give yourself more opportunity to actually fuck up the vibe. Like this desire-based conversation where, let's say you go outside, you make killer eye contact with a girl, you can just go over to her like really audacious and be like, "Hey, I just saw you checking me out. I'm not just a piece of meat, you look amazing. Can I take your phone number?" What I'm going to do for you boys as well, because hopefully you know by now I'm not just one of those talking head videos who just stays in my bedroom and does nothing. This notion of eliminating the conversation entirely and boiling cold approach down to its essence. Like when we actually strip it all back, all cold approach is open and close. That's basically all it is. It's open and close. As long as your open is as powerful as possible, and as long as you're closing with conviction, you're pretty much there. Like it's just open and close. So I'm gonna link a video. I'll link it in the comments. And it's a social experiment that I run last summer in Chelsea in London. And we went out to Chelsea to see what would happen if we eliminated the conversation altogether. Like what would happen if I just approached 5 girls and give them a really hard-hitting compliment and then just close, like no conversation whatsoever. So I think this is a really interesting experiment for you boys to try. If you're someone at the moment who is struggling with the conversational side of things, then give this a go. One caveat to this is when it comes to cold approach, I do think you should be able to have those 5-minute conversations. So I don't want you going out there just spamming every single girl that you see, being like, "Oh, well, this is what Kristian told me to do." No, you should be able to actually have these longer conversations because you're going to need to know at some point how to build investment, make that girl desperate to see you again, set up the proposed date during that initial conversation. But if you've been in the game for 6 months or more and you feel as though your conversations are getting a little bit dry, you want to try something different, you feel as though you're getting a little bit bored with the process, and go for this desire-based conversation instead. Just see what happens. If you see a girl, you go over, you've already got that mutual attraction there. Or even if you don't, like in the video that you're going to watch below in the comments, I didn't have any mutual attraction necessarily. I just saw girls that I liked. I went over to them. I was like, "Hi, you're absolutely beautiful. I want to take you out on a date." That's it. So yeah, I'll link that in the comments because I think it's an interesting concept for anybody who's struggling with, let's just call it conversation anxiety. But yeah, I think the reason why you're continuing to get rejected, it's this subconscious sabotage where you're in your conversation, you've rejected yourself on the girl's behalf, you're in the boxing ring and you're scared of getting punched rather than just allowing your full, organic, authentic self to flourish. So yeah, I hope that this has resonated with you boys. I think it is a normal sticking point once you've overcome that initial approach resistance. It's like, okay, I actually need to stay in the conversation. Now, that's why I say that the approach itself is the easy part. It's actually what happens after the approach. That's where the skill comes in. That's the place where you're delivering your value to the world. So I'll link the video below because that will elucidate everything that I've discussed in this live stream. Thank you to Joseph for his contribution into the Entourage group coaching call yesterday. I think when I film, I'm going to be filming new, like we'll call it infield footage when I return to Europe next month. And I think I'm gonna make an updated version of this desire-based conversation because I just really like the notion of it where we can just remove the rule book. Okay, there's a girl, I like her. Hi, you look beautiful. Can I take your number? It's almost like this Hollywood-esque moment rather than following the formula of like the day game models. It's like see girl, approach girl, say something, get number, happy day. So yeah, there's just many ways to do this, right? There's not just like one way to cold approach. There's not just one way to attract girls. It's a multitude of ways. So yeah, hopefully this is just give you boys some new ideas that you can implement going out there. I'll link the video below in the comments, so go watch that all the way through because that'll really help you. Hopefully it'll make sense to some of the things that I'm speaking about because I'm not sure if the things that I say always make that much sense. But yeah, thank you boys for watching. Not feeling necessarily my best today, but I'm showing up anyway. I think that's what it's about, you know, daily live streams, that's the intention. So even when I'm not feeling it, it's like, fuck my feelings, just show up and do the thing. Yeah, that's why it's discipline. Yeah, discipline rather than motivation. Even when you're not feeling it, you know, just do a little bit anyway, you know? So anyway, I'll be quiet before I start rambling about utter trollop and nonsense. But anyway, I'm wishing you boys an amazing day. I love you all very much. I hope that this live stream has invigorated you and made you feel at least 1% better. Go out there, dominate the world. Don't die with your music still inside of you, and don't be the guy who sleeps walk through life with his best years behind him. So yeah, thanks boys. I love you all, and I will speak with you tomorrow. Mwah.